Hello, 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 everybody. We are here, Amateur Expert Show, episode 6. We are alive and kicking, and I get excited each week to talk to my friends and friends in my head, to hear about their career path, their journey, to hear about the tips that they used along the way. It's been an exciting time. And so today I have my friend Keelan joining me. He is one of my friends from Yukon, and we've been friends ever since. I'm the godmother of his child. So we're like family, you know? But he also has a good story to tell. And so as soon as he hops in, I will invite him. And he's not here yet. Let's see. Oh. There he is. All right, let's do it. So I have invited Keelan to the chat. He's going to join us. Also, I'm back in the car, no longer in Chicago.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Didn't see comment again, in case you were wondering. Are you there?
I'm here.
I think we have a poor connection because it keeps timing out on my end.
That's not good.
Are you there? You're being very still, so I can't tell. I don't know. We may have to, disconnect and try again. Hello, hello. We are back trying this thing out again. Today for the Amateur Expert Show, I have my friend Keelan. He will be joining us shortly. The concept of this show is to discuss career paths, career goals, and to see if your idea of success has changed along the way. Keelan is in, so let's add him. Add. Hello.
Hello, TV land. How you doing?
This is much better.
Very. Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm good. Good. Just got off work, so I'm feeling real good. How are you?
Same. Someone asked me, why do you shoot in your car? I'm like, oh, because I'm just getting off of work. And also because I feel like I can control the sound a little bit better. Like I don't have to worry about the cleaning crew coming in. But
yeah, nice acoustics in there. Good.
Yes. But sometimes there is loud music that passes by. But, you know.
It happens.
It happens. So I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. I have known you for a long time, and you've actually helped me along the way making decisions as far as school goes and some of my career choices. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have you on to discuss sort of your career path, how you decided that was going to be your career path, and, you know, any tips and motivators that you have along the way or had along the way.
Well, first of all, thank you for your introduction. I appreciate that. And thank you. It's so nice, so kind.
So can you tell the studio audience of 2 your current role well, who you are, and then your current role at work.
Okay, so is this like new member orientation kind of style that we're
Yes,
doing?
please.
Okay,
Stand
great.
up
So
and wave to the class.
yeah, no problem, no problem. So my name's Keelan Denny. I am originally from, well, born in California, but originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. Um, I'm a transplant to Connecticut. I've been here since 2005 now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, about 14 years. Um, I currently work for the Department of Children and Families for the state of Connecticut, where I'm a social worker. I've been there since 2010, so 9 years. It would be 9 years in June.
Sheesh,
Yeah,
it's been that long.
yeah, exactly. Sounds so long ago. Been there 9 years now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah, child protection. That's
Hide your
so.
kids. No, just kidding.
Oh.
So, Keelan, when you were a young lad growing up in New Orleans, what did you want to be when you were little?
Oh man, NBA player. What you mean, Allen Iverson, short dude flying around the court? Oh, that was all our dreams, man. That was all our dreams. Growing up in the city with sports. And unfortunately, in a way, but I mean, it gave us, that some other determination. But it was one of those things where, you got out either, doing music, rapper, Master P, you got Cash Money, all that stuff growing up, with them, just locally in the neighborhood, and then you got basketball, football, then band culture is really, really big, in New Orleans. It's kind of like the football team. You get a lot of kids get scholarships to college
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, just off of playing a musical instrument. So just just a part of that culture down in New Orleans. So no, that's what I want to do. What I'm doing now is so far away from what I planned the plan, but I stopped at 5'9", so I had to look at other options.
So, you, like you said, are a transplant. I think is what you said.
Yeah.
In Connecticut. So, um, or I'll ask you this: what did you what did you think? You said you wanted to be a basketball player. How did you equate
Mhm.
that to success?
Well, shoot, at that time, like I said, I mean, your mom, your mom, your grandma, your aunt, they have the quote unquote regular job, the regular job. So, even though in their own right, they're important jobs and jobs that's needed, jobs that put food on the table, but they're not glamorous. They're not the famous stuff. They're not the things that are going to get you rich. So, I doubt, well, I won't say I doubt, but a lot of kids growing up won't say, "Man, I want to be an accountant when I grew up." You know what I mean? So, it's kind of one of those things. And as you grow and kind of mature and different experiences, reality sometimes will catch up to you and kind of steer you in the direction that you need to go. So
So
for
you
me, I
were
think. Mhm.
so you
Oh,
were
go ahead.
enticed sort of by the financial success and or freedom that being a basketball player could have given you based off of, the other NBA stars or things that you've seen.
Oh, of course, of
Oh,
course. I
growing
mean,
up rather.
yeah, of course. Outside of the actual game of it, so love the game of itself. But yeah, because in your mind, everybody can do what they do. So as long as I play outside long enough, I'll be all right. So
I mean, it happened for Michael Jordan.
yeah, I mean, well, 6'6" out, yeah, 6'6" out.
So you came to UConn. That's where I met you
Hmm.
first, but you came from
Hmm.
Xavier.
No, so actually, um, I before I got to UConn, I was at I was in a transition program. So I was going to go to Southern Connecticut. I mean Southern Connecticut, shoot. Southern University of Baton Rouge, in Louisiana,
Okay.
HBCU. But because I dilly dallied, on my senior year, I missed the enrollment date.
Oops.
So exactly, it was so terrible. So you don't learn from that mistake. Uh, so at the time, was the community college was on the campus of the actual school. So what they ended up doing was they told me, well, hey, take this first semester, take some of your core classes here. It's called Delgado Community College. Take your
Got it.
core classes here, then the spring semester you transfer into the school. Lo and behold, I didn't, all the way follow through with that plan, but that's kind of how it was supposed to go.
And why didn't you follow through with the plan?
A little thing we like to call Hurricane Katrina.
Okay, that's what I thought,
So
but I
yeah.
wanted to... Sorry.
No, I understand it. For the studio audience, they don't know.
Yes. Okay. So a bittersweet, right? But
yes,
because of
yes,
Katrina, you came to Connecticut, and now
yes.
you've started a new life here.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you decide or think about wanting to become a social worker?
Oh, that wasn't until I think my junior year, end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year of college at
Of
UConn.
college?
Yes.
Okay.
And not even
So what did you
specifically
think
child
the plan?
protection.
What did you
Just
think the
social
plan
worker.
was? So you came in freshman year, just sort of, I'm going to college. This is what I'm supposed to do, or did you have different? Because when I was a freshman in college, I had at least 4 or 5 majors. So were you just undecided, or did you jump around?
I jumped around. Because at that point, my idea of college, I mean, it's sad to say, but in New Orleans and then surrounding, because I went to school in New Orleans until I got to high school. Then went to a high school in the suburb. So it's basically New Orleans, but basically like not like what we would call across the river from the main city. So there, our education system wasn't the best, especially when I was going to school. I went to high school from 2001 to 2005. So at that time, our education system wasn't that great. So a lot of things like, you would take for granted, like a working guidance counselor, things of that nature, we didn't really have. I visited my guidance counselor one time in my whole high school career, and that was just to let me know, oh, you're on track to graduate. So there was never conversations about, college enrichment. Um,
I lost him, I think. Oh, it's circling back. Maybe. What do I do? And we're back. Oh, with the sirens. This is fantastic. God bless them. Woohoo! We're back! This is awesome. So I request to be in the back view. Go live. Oh, I think more sirens are coming.
That's kind of how our friendship was going as well. Very symbolic. Great. Great.
Oh,
Awesome.
man. This is great.
Okay.
So you were saying that the high school that you went to didn't have
yes.
any
Yeah.
college
So
enrichment, or you only saw your guidance counselor one time.
yeah. Bad school system. So all know bad school system. So shoot, what was I even tying that back to? This is bad. Okay. So rewind.
Why you didn't know what you wanted to do at college?
Yes. Yes. There we
Freshman
go.
year, rather.
There we go. So I said all that to say basically, I didn't know. I knew I had to go to college because
Yes.
I didn't want, quote unquote, regular job. I didn't want manual labor jobs. That's what a lot of New Orleans is. It's based around tourism, fisheries, that kind of thing. So a lot of people, what they end up doing, if they can cook, they go into the food service industry, waiters.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that. The hotel industry. Those are things along those lines. So that's not something I want to do. A lot of my family do it, so it's definitely not looking down upon it. I was just at that time, I was a lazy kid. I like to play sports and do my own thing. I didn't want to run and do anything that caused me too much, strife. So I was like, oh, go to college, you get a better job. That's simple, right? So that's one things I want to do, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I liked art at the time, so I'll be an architect. Yeah, I took some classes in that, didn't like it. Computer science, and at the time, UConn, I think believe they have it now, but there wasn't a graphic design program. So the closest thing was computer engineering. I
Mm-hmm.
know that no, I know that now that's totally different thing. No similarities whatsoever.
Not the
Uh,
same. Yep.
no, but I obviously had to go through those classes and kind of take those, growing pains to really figure out what I want to do. So I think I bounced around, maybe officially changed my major once, but unofficially about 3, 4 times.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
that's why we're friends.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I had no idea. I had no idea. I kind of, like I said, just fell into it, I would say.
So junior year, is when you sort of had an epiphany of sorts. Like, so
Yeah.
what sort of guided you there?
So it was actually an internship. And so at the time, one of my jobs on campus was the student employment office. So the student employment office, I had a lot of insight to a lot of the different one jobs on campus. I knew I had to know, have a knowledge of that, but also they handle internships. So internships that they have partnerships with UConn, not just ones that you kind of go out and find on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was in a town close to Stores, Wyndham. It was at Wyndham Elementary School, and so I knew that my aunt, she actually works for the Department of Children and Families, just as I do. She's been there for about 25 years. So at the time, she did social work. I was still trying to get my feet wet and things, trying to figure out what I want to do. And I was like, oh, social work, good with, I felt like I had good people skills. I had an urge, in some degree to help people. Just because throughout my process of being at home, even getting up to Connecticut, I had a lot of help on the way. So in my way, in my own little way, I want to kind of give back. So I was like, hey, maybe this could be a potential occupation for me. So did that. So I was able to intern under a social worker there, and just kind of the relationship I had with her. She was really good, and it kind of explaining to me the different ins and outs of her specific role as a social worker, because at that time I didn't know social work is a general term. There's a lot more specialized duties depending on what area that you're in. So I kind of got a sense of how I worked in the schools, things of that nature, and I guess I found an affinity for it. And yeah, I guess I just found an affinity for it. And so sociology was kind of the closest thing to that, and I focused a lot of my internships and a lot of my jobs around the social work aspect.
Got it. And so, what, sorry, drew a blank.
Yeah.
What is your idea of success now?
Like right this second. Success now. Right now, success is wrapped around my family, in a sense of my relationships with my family, as far as my son, and the relationship I have with my girlfriend, his mom, and even trying to cultivate those relationships that I do have. Some that have grown distant over time, whether it be family, friends, those of that nature. Just because me being up here for 14 years now, and kind of, you take for granted when you're around your mom, your dad, your cousins, and your close friends every day. When you're away from them that long, just because of that incident, with Katrina, I basically had to start over moving back to Connecticut. And you think of that, you take a second, think of, especially as an 18-year-old, you don't really understand the magnitude of that, how life changing that can be. You're kind of young and dumb. I'm like, oh, I'll pick up, I'll go with my parents, we'll move somewhere else, we'll live, we'll be fine. But as you grow older, and you have, especially friends like yourself and other people that's growing up in the same area for years, for all their life, they can always reach back. Oh, I passed, my old school, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's Monica that I knew in second grade. A lot of those. And not so saying is, try to make anyone feel sorry for me, but it's the reality is, a lot of that kind of history and kind of people that you can reach back to and kind of have
Mm-hmm.
moments with that changed for me. So I can only really draw back into 18 years old for me
Right.
going up to Connecticut outside of, my mom, my dad, things of that nature. So you learn how much you take relationships for granted and how friendship can be is really important to you,
Mm-hmm.
especially when outside of an aunt and a cousin that I have that lives up here. Friends are really all the thing that I have up here as a support system. So
Right.
those networking connections are really important. So success for me right now, obviously, job, is that's important. Just the ability to be able to provide for my family with comfortably. Um, it's trying to, get back some of those relationships or, strengthen some of the relationships that I had, whether it's my fault or not, and kind of go from there. So just taking steps to that. I'm not perfect, but, trying to take steps, to get to that. So I think I'm successful. I've been successful in my life over time, but right now that's what success means. If
I
that
mean,
was a
and
good
as
one.
your friend, I can say that your response time to text is getting so much better.
See, look at
So
that, man. Look, hey,
I
that's
am
that's that's
proud of you.
success. That's success. That's
I am proud of you, but I do understand when you say it is important to be able to reach back to your family and be able to cultivate memories, and especially now that you've started your own sort of family, to be
exactly,
able to
exactly.
share that with him. So, what tips and or motivators did you use along your path in college, or um, uh, when you first got here from Katrina? What was what helped you to thrive? And it could be two
Hmm.
sets, or it could be two different things, or multiple
Hmm.
things, or
Well, then that's the thing. It was like you said, like I said, success. Oops, go back. Okay, so like for me, success is like I said, it was different at different points in my life. So just as with that being different, the tips and motivators that I used was different. For me, honestly, just as simple as I could put it, for me coming from New Orleans to Connecticut was just, in some terms, pure survival, honestly. Um, because at that time it was like I said, a precarious time for all that stuff to happen. I was 18. It was my freshman year of college. At the time, my mom was 9 months pregnant with my younger brother,
mm,
and then and all of that in a whirlwind. 2 weeks prior to that, we were all still living of us moving to Connecticut. We're all living in New Orleans, preparing for the birth of my youngest brother, and me, start my freshman year of college, thinking that life was not going to change much from
mm-hmm,
there. So a lot of me and my motivation here was just me not want to be a burden to my family. Because at that time, like I said, all my siblings, I have four siblings in all, and three on my mother's side. They were at the time 13, 3, and not born yet.
so
So
they all so when Katrina happened, everyone moved up.
yeah, everyone moved. So it was like so on the day, maybe a day or two before Katrina happened came. Obviously, like I said, my mom was pregnant and everything at the time. So, um, the thing with hurricanes, you kind of know the path that they're coming, and you kind of test, the severity of what they're saying the hurricane will be, the path, and all that stuff, and kind of deliberate whether you want to go or stay. So people from up here, I learned they hear hurricane, oh man, why would anybody want to stay? Well, and a lot of times, just like up here, you guys get blizzards all the time. Whereas if there was a blizzard in New Orleans, we've shut down for 2 months. Whereas
Right.
stuff happens here, the infrastructure is more equipped for. So with us hurricanes, actually the year of Hurricane Katrina, I think a week or two prior to that, there was a hurricane that passed through that we stayed for, and that one had more destructive power than Katrina did. The thing with Katrina is the levees broke, which were the things that
Right.
basically held the water from flooding into the city. So,
Right.
in essence, the hurricane really wasn't this big monster of a rainstorm. It was a bad one, but not a big monster of it. It's just the things that happened that caused the flooding of the city, and then everything that came after it. So um, when it came to that, we stayed for that. When it was just something told our family, whether probably God, told our family, hey, we need to get out and go. So we packed up something for enough clothes for the weekend and drove to Houston, which this is normally about a 4-hour drive, and wait out the storm and go back, to our life. And basically, that obviously the story changed. That didn't happen. So,
Right.
So with that, I just didn't want to be a burden for my family, and wanted to kind of prove, that I could be independent and kind of do what I need to do for myself without, having to, be another mouth to feed that they have to worry about. 18 years old, everything that comes with that. So I want to do that for myself. So a lot of it was just pure survival, at that point. And then, not being a stereotype, and a black kid growing in the inner city, didn't want to be in a statistic, fall into, street culture, things of that nature. So, success for me at that point, just to get to college and graduate, and kind of go from there, get a good paying job. And then it rolls over to, starting a family. So a lot of it, I guess my biggest tip, and sometimes I fall short on even, doing that for myself, is it's really important just to have a goal in mind. Because a lot of times, throughout life, you're going to have different goals at different points in life, even careers. Your average person may change their career 4 to 6 times throughout their lifetime. So a lot of times is you reach that goal, you reach the pinnacle. What do you want to do next? Because if you don't, it's easy to get complacent, easy to get comfortable in the place that you are. But the cliche is, you can't grow if you don't go through some pain. So a lot of times, you just need to kind of keep yourself goal oriented and keep the things that's going to motivate you, and also keep the things around you that's going to bring out that passion. And because your job, as much as you like it, you're going to have those bad days that you're going to really need to pull something from within to kind of help you get through that, especially with child protection. So as rewarding as that job is, you're seeing the worst of society on a daily basis. So you always want to have something that's gonna help you through that. So did I answer the question?
You did, and I appreciate you did great. I remember one of the things that you told me, this was when I think I was doing the paralegal program at UConn Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was just like, I just want to move to New York, and this is the easiest way for me to do it. I'll get a job as a paralegal. But you know how I used to have a really hard time
Mm-hmm.
with writing things.
Oh no.
Getting assignments done. And so I think I come to your apartment and I was like stressing out, and I was like, could you just help me please? And you were like, listen, you have this goal, like you just have to do it, figure it out, I'll help you the best I can. And you did it. I appreciate you. But you were like, you just have to do it. And I was like, he's right. Like me whining and crying about it is not going to, 1, get me to my goal, or 2, get the work done, even if I don't actually get to the end goal. Like so thank you for that.
No problem. It's always great to hear your good advice you give to other people that you sometimes don't really follow yourself. It's awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You did good. You did good by me, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
did finish the program, but I never used it. But
hey,
that's neither here nor there. So the last question that I have for you is for you to share with me a random tidbit of information, a random Snapple fact, or something that that no one else knows.
Like how deep you trying to go with this? So that's the question.
I mean, the last 2 guests gave random bits of information about themselves. I feel like you can anything. It could be a different motivator, or it could be one of your favorite quotes. It could be.
This is probably the hardest question you didn't ask me.
Right.
I don't know no word rhymes with orange. I don't know what kind.
Rhymes with orange?
Yeah, I mean it's the truth. I think it's the truth.
Yeah, I can't
At
think
the
of one that
age,
does. That's good.
yeah, yeah. Well, think at the age of 18, I will. I don't think I am. Yeah, I'm not anymore. Expired. When I graduated high school, I became a licensed loan officer for mortgages in Louisiana.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it expired 2 years later because they have to retest. But yeah,
And
things you
what was
don't
your
know.
plan? What was your plan with that?
Because my mom does it. My mom, she's a loan officer, been a loan officer for about 20 years. So it was one of those things at that time you didn't need to go to school. You just need to pass the certification class. You need to go do a certain number of hours, and then a firm would have to pick you up. And so you can kind of intern under them. And so my mom was like, "Look, boy, because like I told you earlier on, I was late. I was late enrolling into school, and so like I had to go to Delgado Community College for the first semester, and transfer later. So she was like, "You either go into school, or you get a job." So I was like, "Well, you do this for the summer to have some money, because otherwise I was gonna be in the house broke." So I did that, and her firm, they let me come on and intern under her, and so that was my first summer job before I went to school.
And did you ever think about doing real estate, or was that just
Oh
like,
no, I hated that mess so much. Oh Jesus, I hated it so much. But I mean, like I said, it was one of those things with a skill. It was a skill to
yes,
have that I'll never use again. Yes, but it was
got it.
great at the time.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah,
Your
anytime.
tips and motivators were inspiring. And yeah, thank you for being on.
Hey, I appreciate you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anytime. You have a good one.
Thank you. Talk to you later.